Well, the Orange Jabba the Hutt has appointed his vice president as the history czar of whitewash. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a lot more pressing issues going on right now, and I don't think this turtle out of his shell looking ass nigga, president of the United States needs to be worried about. So why the fuck is he worried about what the Smithsonian Museum is doing right now, let alone the National African American Museum? You can trace all of this back to the war on woke. Your history, my history, does not start with slavery. Like they say in Hidden Colors, the deeper archaeologists dig, the blacker the planet gets. When they want to purge the libraries, they don't care about a couple of gay characters in a book. They just want you to stop bringing up Alexander Stevenson's speech. Alexander Stevens is the vice president of the Confederacy. Quotes from a bloodthirsty racist like him who is at the leadership of the Confederacy. And I quote, "Our government is founded exactly on the opposite idea. Its foundations are laid, its cornerstones rest upon the great truth that the Negro is not equal to the white man, and that slavery is his natural and normal condition." End quote. See, these people carrying these Confederate flags and talking about states' rights and heritage, well, this is your fucking heritage. The part that you know but you lie in public about, that's one of the many reasons they want to attack black history. So why would you go back and try to eliminate the military contributions of Jackie Robinson, who was actually a captain in the military, as part of military educational history? Like, why are you doing that in 2025? But for your fucking race. Sending JD Vance, pudgy, stupid, goofy ass around the country to try to regulate how the Smithsonian or the Museum of Black History, what they display, how they display it, and what is part of their educational curriculum, if they have any. Trump and his white nationalist party spent about a decade yelling about this quote unquote wokeism bullshit, which includes trans issues. And they just Trojan horse that shit to the point where even Blacks for Trump didn't even see that it had nothing to do with trans or LGBTQRS. Because if we just pause and be honest, when Trump said he's for you and she's for they, them, it was yet again another blatant fucking lie that he told their entire country, and some of you jackasses fell for it. We have to be better when it comes to informing ourselves about these issues, because Trump had that same trans prisoner law on the books while he was in office. This fact was actually touched on the Clay Kane show. Clay Kane is a journalist and author of The Grift, and he sat down with another black man who didn't vote for Kamala because of the trans situation that ran during a football game, explaining just how effective a lie like that can be when your target audience is uninformed.
Wow. So you served your country in the Army, and now you're serving your country again in the federal government.
And I think some of the things that turned away, a lot of people that are, I would say, conservative Democrats or, reserved independents were too far left. If that makes
like
any
what?
sense.
Like what? Just curious. Like what?
Man, if I could pick one thing, I think it was the commercials that were shown talking about the tax dollars going for transitioning
The trans issue.
Yeah, the transition, right?
But that was Trump's commercials.
Correct.
So it was Trump's commercials against her around trans folks. But did you know that was a lie? That it was under Trump's administration that gave trans people access to surgeries when they were in prison. That was his administration. You didn't know that?
No.
They told a lie. Kamala Harris is for they, them, Trump is for you. But the New York Times the next day released an article saying they showed the memo under Trump's administration that allowed access for trans folks to have surgeries while in prison. But you see how slick it is, man?
Absolutely.
They did this shit back in the day with the welfare queen narrative, with the Willie Horton ad, and now they're using trans people. And I mean, do you know any trans people? Do you know any French
yeah.
people?
Absolutely.
Well, it's just like, are they the ones that are going to fire you from your federal job? Are they the ones that are going to end the Department of Education? So it saddens me to hear. I'm glad we're having this dialogue. It's all love, because I want to know why someone like you, even if you're in blue state, why she didn't resonate, and it was an ad that was a lie.
Like for real, not a propaganda strategy. When you sit back and really think about it, it's the Republicans who are the freakiest, freaky-deakiest, closeted, cocaine-fueled, sex party closet canoes we've ever seen.
You know, you're really beautiful.
Come on, say it with me. The confession is always in the accusation, right? That's like in the index of the textbook that they give you on your first day at dictator school. The whole point of lying and over-exaggerating about trans content in junior high school libraries was not about some half-a-page scene of two girls kissing, when the point all along has been you darkies is starting to educate yourself a little bit too much about your own history and digging up shit you weren't supposed to find. And it's not about a chapter in a book where two guys are holding hands. No, they don't want you to dig into, let's just say, the facts behind the assassination of Shaka Zulu. They would rather you believe the narrative of him begging and pleading for his life instead of actually telling you the more intricate story that he was killed by his half-brother and his cousin, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but this assassination was called down by a group of oracles, a collective of elder women who called for the elimination of Shaka, saying that our king has outlawed life itself, but they decreed that it can only be done by royal blood. They don't want deep study into the intricacies about that and why. They want to sever the ties with your ancestors. I mean, come on, this is the whole narrative they did when they brought us over here, right? They don't want you to connect with the wisdom of your elders and the echoes of your ancestors. It has nothing to do with some black literary genius who just happens to be a woman and likes to put a little bit of spicy in the pages every now and then. It's about talking over the fact that this powerful country that we live in was founded on thievery, chemical warfare, human trafficking, and the weaponization of science and history. Now, you can choose to believe the raging, red-faced, microwave dumpling with a Confederate flag and a nigga go home sign in his yard that this is all about states' rights, or you could just use your fucking common sense as a black person in the Western world and call a fucking spade a spade. And I ain't even touch on the fact that these white nationalist ICE fucking brown shirt Stasi units are deporting some gay bartender that looks like he's straight out of the Fifth Element, claiming that he's Tren de Aragua. And listen, when I first looked, Tren de Aragua doesn't even identify with a particular tattoo. It's about creating some type of deputized unit of 21st century Stasi. So they can hire every asshole that you've ever known in your fucking life and put them on bounty hunter units. No law enforcement history needed. So snatching college students off the streets for participating in an op-ed that urged their university to withdraw their support over Israel's genocide in Gaza.
Where the police? Where the police?
Yeah, you don't look like it. Why are you hiding your faces?
We already knew and understood that Trump would be worse for Palestine, right? His boy, little Marco, told y'all what it was.
Senator Rubio, will you call for ceasefire
No, I will not.
in Gaza?
On the contrary.
Senator Rubio,
Are you filming it?
Wait,
So I want you guys to get this. I want them to destroy every element of Hamas they can get their hands on. These people are vicious animals who did horrifying crimes. And I hope you guys post that.
And what about the civilians that are being killed every day?
Hamas should stop hiding behind civilians, putting civilians in the way. That's what I think. Make sure you post that, please.
Okay, so as I get ready to close this out, I want to point out the CBCF Executive Order Tracker. This is available for you to check out all of these bullshit executive orders. The CBCF is, I will put the link in the description. It's very easy to navigate. It's updated weekly, I believe. And if you want to laugh about Haitians eating dogs, then you're exactly the person that needs to go to this link and click on the description, because being loud and wrong, it ain't popular with the ladies. Arm yourself with the facts, and you too can find your mojo. This has nothing to do with doing anything for the average Americans, let alone us darkies. It's about reinstating the gross, blatant, generational racist oppression of black farmers in the United States. Yes, black farmers. It's not just the attack on our history, it's an attack on all fronts. And if you look into the excerpt from the CBCF introduction, it reads, all right, quote, "The Trump administration has increasingly relied on other forms of presidential directives, including presidential actions, to implement policy changes. A presidential action used to call on the federal government to take action. Notably, the White House reclassified over 100 executive orders as presidential actions after their initial issuance. Presidential actions are not printed in the Federal Registry and therefore are harder to track, making federal oversight and public review much more difficult." End quote. But like I said, the link is in the description. I think they update it weekly. You can go through all of these bullshit executive orders that he's doing. So whatever, let me continue. So John Boyd Jr. is the president of the Black Farmers Association, and he was over on Black Star Network, and he spoke out about the Orange Jabba the Hutt's executive order, being an actual black farmer himself. I'm going to just let him explain it with more clarity.
One thing that I want to highlight before we get into this tariff thing is the president put an executive order out there allowing white South African farmers to provide them with a fast pathway to citizenship in the United States, and they're going to give them land out of federal inventory from the United States Department of Agriculture and grazing land from the Department of Interior, and provide them a homestead. Things they never did in this country for black people. They want to give it to South African white farmers that Trump says face discrimination in South Africa, but all these 40 years I've been trying to get it right here in the United States. It's always a reason why we can't get our land out of federal inventory. And this president came in and closed up civil rights on the first day at United States Department of Agriculture. It took an act of Congress for me to get the Civil Rights Office reopened under the Reagan administration. An act of Congress had to reopen it and fund it with money with the support of President Bill Clinton. We had to do all of this through Congress. And this president comes in one day and wipes away 40 years of work at the United States Department of Agriculture. It's crazy, and he's circumventing Congress. This man's acting like a dictator. He's going around the courts. He's not abiding by the court decisions that's out here. It's rampant, and we have to rise up and speak out against it. But I had a lot of pushback when I came out nationally for VP Harris, from people and the organization itself that didn't want us to do that. Some of these very same type of individuals that you are describing here. We got to do better at understanding. Yes, I agree we didn't get everything that we needed from the Democratic Party, but anybody who's confused about the difference between the Democratic Party, Joe Biden, and this president in office right now, something's wrong with you. And we face a special set of issues in this country that no other people face with pure hatred. And this president hates black people, if anybody's confused out here. Anybody that was doing anything around color, they're already gone. So I want to be very, very clear. Those positions have been terminated, and they fired them, and they fired these people. That's what this president is doing to black people in this country, and we're too silent about it, in my opinion.
And the last thing is to touch on these tariffs that Trump is doing, because it's going to hurt everybody. But we all know when shit bad happens in this country, we get hit the worst. Since I'm just a nigga with a GED, I figured that Trump's tariff schizophrenia is better explained in a short clip from a clinical professor of marketing at the New York University Stern School of Business, Scott Galloway. In 2022, Galloway's weekly newsletter, No Mercy, No Malice, won a Webby Award and Webby's People's Choice Award for Best Business, News, and Technology Website and or mobile site. He's a bit dry. I mean, fuck it. Dude is like dry as a fucking rice cake. But he studies and teaches this stuff, and he lays it out in a real world scenario that's unfolding right now as I'm recording this video on how ass backwards this whole tariff thing is. Here he is with Kara Swisher of the Revo. Go check him out. Link in the description. But here's what he had to say about it in this short clip.
Apple was trying very hard to deal with this. They're airlifting 600 tons of iPhones from India last week to reportedly beat the tariffs. This flip-flopping is really bad. Carolyn Levitt, of course, it goes against what they were saying. We're going to make things in the U.S. Carolyn Levitt, Tracy Flick said over the weekend that Trump is still committed to seeing more products and components made in the U.S. She noted Trump's direction. Tech companies are hustling to onshore their manufacturing in the United States as soon as possible. This is, Carolyn, sit down, you 27-year-old ignoramus. But what do you think about this flippity flop?
Brand U.S. has become toxic uncertainty. There's several organizations, including Pew and Ipsos, that track an uncertainty index. And that index has reached its highest level since the 80s. The level of uncertainty in the U.S. right now is greater than COVID. Think about that. And by the way, I'm going to give you some anecdotes. I'm not going to name the people because they didn't want to be named. But what I would tell our listeners is that unlike the Trump administration, my anecdotes are true. I'm not lying. Mm-hmm. Over the weekend, I talked to several CEOs. One is the CEO of a huge catalog and retail company that does a lot of housewares. This person has, he thinks, about $60 million in outdoor furniture waiting to hit the stores for summer that are on ships en route from China. All of a sudden, he has to figure out a way to get to the port of Long Beach when they arrive and write a check for $85 million that he wasn't expecting to write. And he has to call his CFO. And this is a publicly traded multi-billion-dollar company. It's like, I can't just like find $85 million.
Now, the 85 is for what? To pay for these things now? Or what is the 85 for?
That's the correct question, because the way tariffs work is the importer, the catalog, the retailer company taking delivery of outdoor furniture from China. If these products, quote unquote, cost $60 million, you have to, with 145% tariff, the person receiving the items, the retailer in the U.S., has to pay $85 million to the U.S. government in the form of a tariff payment. So this individual has to come up with $85 million to get the shit off the boat. In addition,
right. Unless they're given a reprieve.
But he can't just let shit sit on a boat. And right now, he has to plan for what. In addition, he's got to find hundreds, if not thousands, of people to go down to the port. And when the stuff comes off the boat, retag and reprice everything, because now the majority of retailers that order their stuff out of China have it tagged and priced and attached to the actual physical item in China.
And wrapped, right? And whatever, if there happen to be clothing or something like that.
Whatever it is. And so in addition, he's like, okay, so I have stopped all shipments from China. I've told them stop producing, which is going to take my inventory levels way down. And the only way I'm going to get anywhere back to even is if I raise prices, which I'm going to have to do. In addition to more expensive prices, i.e. inflation, my earnings call is going to be a shit show when I have to explain that, oh yeah, I wasn't expecting to pay an $85 million unexpected, straight from the bottom line payment for tariffs that didn't exist 7 days before.
Right.
And he has to go into his office and the CFO goes, all right, if we've got to go borrow $85 million against the line, we can do it. But if every retailer is hitting their line, the interest costs are going to go up. And this is what played out last week and why this guy blinked yet again.
Yeah, Trump has words. He knows the best words.
I know words. I have the best words.
The art of the deal. China's coming to the table. China's like, motherfucker, we ain't talking to you. But anyway, I'm going to just leave it there, man. So, black people, yeah, he's coming for your history. And more than that, because in the next video, I'm going to talk about something else that's actually whatever. Where the hell is my remote? I never have my remote when I need. Hold on. Where the hell is my? Bam. Got it. All right. This is JD at Giant TV. Love y'all, man. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Hey, Kendrick, you owe me some motherfucking money. If you saw the Super Bowl performance, Kendrick stole my shit. Nigga, you owe me some money. Anyway, this is JD at Giant TV. Love y'all. Shout out to Kung Fu Kenny. Out.
Uh-oh.
I just love you.
No, that's why he's a great politician.
Yeah, you niggas will be all right.
Look at my African American over here. Look at him. Are you the greatest?